It's time for To the Max Sports, where we talk about sports. They're just two guys, Max and Drew, in a bar talking all things sports. Well, without the bar. And the beer. Wait, why aren't we in the bar?
Hello, folks, and welcome to the Flying Whipper Production Studios. I am here with the Oracle of San Antonio Sports Radio, Jeff Vexler. Got Brother Bob working the ones and twos, and as usual, well, we're in a park because it's colder than 30
It
out
is
there.
awful outside, man.
But we made it. We made it for you, folks. So all you can do is hit that like and subscribe button for us. Fair enough? What are we going to talk about?
Oh, I've got a few things.
You want to start with...
I'll tell you what's top of my mind.
Okay.
Ooh, what's top of your mind?
First, let me tell you what's top of my mind.
All right.
We always unveil my beer of the week.
Yeah.
My beer of the week. My beer of the week. Yes, that's all we need, Jeff, is some tasty waves and a cool buzz. All right, what do we got, Brother Bob?
Natty
Light, baby.
Oh, come
Look
on.
at you.
Yeah, baby. We're going old school with the Natty Light.
Since you're curious, my non-alcoholic beer tonight
Yes.
is the St. Pauli Girl in a very good non-alcoholic beer.
Better than the one last week?
Not as good as the other one, but still quite good in its own right.
Because that one was quite tasty.
Oh, it's delicious, and I've got a sixer of those right over here.
Well, as always, folks, if you drink responsibly. If you don't, go ahead and get trash. Just take an Uber and don't throw up in the Uber car. There you go.
The St. Pauli Girl, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic, she's still hot.
Mm.
You don't have to be drunk to like her tits. Am I allowed to say tits on this show?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
You can, yeah.
We haven't been
Good, I
banned
did
yet.
twice.
So, Juwan Howard, what do you think?
That's what I was going to say. That's what's on my mind.
We've been working long enough. We just kind of read each other's minds.
Okay, so what do you guys think of the suspension? Are you at all surprised?
Yes.
Okay, where does your surprise come in? Too hard, too light?
Do we want to watch the video?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, let's watch it.
77 to 63.
So the very end of the game,
And Juwan Howard not
the handshake line.
immediately to shake hands. Now he's going to get in the line. Interesting.
Juwan just wants to walk past him,
Oh, see, and they're going
says something to him.
And guard are not happy right now. As the two
Oh, the mask comes off. You know he's serious.
we told
He's going to blow COVID on him.
not happy about that.
Well, I mean, he wasn't serious until then he threw the punch.
Yeah.
Just threw a right hand. And now we got a scrum.
So, yeah.
So,
Do we need to Zapruder film that thing? Because I really think we do.
How so?
Well, a lot of people are saying that Coach Gard of Wisconsin is culpable in this matter for putting his hands on Juwan Howard.
well, the guy working the ones and twos thinks that.
I think he shares some responsibility. I don't think it's as heinous, the grab, as some people have made it. That I think he intended to just kind of slow Howard down.
Correct. To get his attention, because Howard, on his way past him, said, I'm going to remember that.
Yeah.
And Gard went, well, wait a minute. If you're going to say something to me, then we need to talk. Now, if Juwan Howard wants to quietly and without a word walk past Coach Gard and give him the full cold shoulder,
Heisman.
as some coaches do, okay, that does happen in basketball. It happens in other sports as well. You just cold shoulder the guy. You don't say a word. That's one thing. But when Juwan Howard has something to say where he says, I'm going to remember that. Well, now, if I'm Coach Gard, I'm like, well, wait a minute. You want to say something, then let's have a talk.
Right.
Here's why I did what I did. And for those of you who don't know and are living under a rock, Wisconsin was blowing out Michigan. Michigan is a proud team, a proud program. They're in a down year. Coach Howard is he's revered there because he's had two good seasons. And this one's being, turning out to be a little bit of a down one. But nonetheless, I think people have faith that he's going to be the Michigan man to bring the program Well, I don't want to say back to prominence because it's been prominent, not perennially, but really every decade they've had a good team for as long as I've been alive. So anyway, to maintain what Michigan has in their basketball program. And so they're getting blown out. Michigan is down almost 20 and they're pressing late in the game when the game is decided. And Wisconsin calls a timeout. And that pissed Juwan Howard off to the point that he's going to remember that. I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's a major overreaction from Juwan Howard. I think that's pretty obvious. And secondly, I just think this don't put your hands on me bullshit excuse that a lot of people make nowadays.
Yeah.
Don't put your hand on my kid or I'll kill you. I mean, really? Really? Like, yeah, really? Right? If a coach does that to your kid,
that's assault.
I mean, you know, I used to have a coach, Roger Hankins, if you're out there and listening, go to bed. It's late and you're old.
Well, first of all, Roger, hit like and subscribe and then go to bed.
Also that. But Coach Hankins was a great coach and a great man. And I was his point guard. He led me through every single play by the scruff of the uniform.
Yeah.
Now, was I supposed to be offended by that? I wasn't.
Yep.
It didn't hurt my feelings.
Right. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago in high school. The coach would grab your face mask and pull you to get your attention.
Absolutely. Now there is a fine line between getting between that and abuse. I agree. But like, if we're talking about there being a fine line between abuse and attention, which is the words you just used, then isn't Coach Gard just trying to get the attention of Juwan Howard as Juwan Howard says something to him and then tries to walk past?
Howard has some anger issues. Bob has mentioned that before. Personally, myself, it's a fireable offense.
I totally agree.
It's a fireable offense.
It was a fireable offense. Listen, he threw a punch at an assistant
in
coach.
The workplace, Bob, can you think of any scenario where you can punch a coworker, a customer, or a fellow peer, punch him in the face and not lose your job? Any other occupation?
Well, not when it doesn't involve
law enforcement,
vital self-defense. Right.
And I'll tell you what, and I'm going to throw this out there, guys, and it's just because we talk about everything. Had it been a white coach that had punched a black coach, do you think the media would have handled this completely differently?
We're going there now? Right now?
I actually,
all right.
I don't think so. I think it was handled the way it needed to be handled. Juwan Howard has anger management issues, but here's the thing that I truly 100% believe. All sins are forgiven with competitive success.
Oh, no doubt.
Okay.
But he could go down to Madison, Wisconsin, to a fraternity house and beat the living poop out of a bunch of frat brothers. And if he's posting an undefeated season, the Michigan boosters don't care.
Is it hard to have a serious conversation when this guy opens up beers?
So for the most part, Bob, I totally agree with that. Obviously, the proof is in the pudding. He's been a pretty good head coach, took his team to a Final Four. It's going to be hard to fire a guy who's had that kind of success. And I think a lot of people believe, including myself, that Juwan Howard's going to do great at Michigan because of the way he can recruit and the stature of the man that he is. He had a long NBA career. Yeah. Obviously, his time at Michigan was, it was preeminent and it was, reasonably successful.
Woody Hayes lost his career when he punched a player.
Oh, I mean, you can
if
count.
Bobby Knight had done that, they would have, I think actually they would have, towards the latter part of his career, they would have fired him.
Absolutely. I'm honestly shocked that Juwan Howard isn't fired.
At the end of the day, that's a felony assault. As much as you want to make it hyperbole, it was a felony assault.
I'm not rooting for him to get fired. I wasn't.
I think at a minimum, suspend him, make him take till next season, make him take anger management courses, and then go out and speak about ways you can conduct yourself, after he takes these courses, because it's just unacceptable behavior.
I can't believe he's coming back this season for the conference tournament.
That's actually what
it
shocked
blows
me.
my mind.
But
it needed to be harsher than that, in my opinion. And it's short of firing. And honestly, I do believe it's a fireable offense. But if they're not going to fire him, it needs to be a lot more than 5 games. 5 games is a full-on slap on the wrist.
Well, I mean, nothing's preventing the University of Michigan heaping onto that
correct.
suspension is from the conference, not the university. The university, if they had cojones, if they had some testicles, would say, this is not what we stand for.
Yeah.
This is not what we believe. Coach Howard, you're sitting the rest of the season. I want to see some contriteness. I want to see anger management classes. I want to see something moving forward.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do it because they don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. It's apparent, or it's becoming apparent, that they don't.
Yeah.
The longer this goes without word from the University of Michigan on an additional suspension. Yeah, I agree with you. And by the way, I covered Juwan Howard many years ago. Was I in college or just right out of college in Washington, D.C.? And he was an asshole. I mean, I'm not going to mix words. He was an asshole. And I'm not surprised that he's still an asshole.
Yeah, those Tigers don't change their stripes. Well, not to beat a dead horse. How you like that for a segue?
There you go.
Moving on from something serious to something comical. The NBA All-Star Game.
Don't call it a game.
Call it a joke?
Call it a sporting exhibition.
Sure.
But it is not a game.
I literally watched 2 minutes and said, you know what? I have more fun going on YouTube watching Professor Live and Street Ballers than this crap.
Let me ask you something. What quarter did you watch?
I watched it when he made like three pointers in a row, or
Steph?
At the beginning. A little bit of the first.
Or somebody else made
Steph.
3 threes. Okay.
I watched a little bit of the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I tuned it out and watched another second quarter. I guess they have it broken down now some shitty way. And I was just like, I'm out.
So I watched a minute or 2 in the first half, and then about 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. And honestly, all All-Star games suck. Okay. They all suck. There's not a good one. Forget it. They're a great exhibition. They were a great exhibition back in the day before everybody could see players out of market anytime they wanted to.
But here's an interesting segue. Do you know Pete Alonso in baseball made more money winning 2 home run derbies than he did in his first 3 years on his baseball contract?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, that's different. That's a gimmick. You don't have to turn a game into a gimmick. That's a gimmick side aspect.
Well, we're going to get to that in a little bit because we're going to talk about that.
The fourth quarter had some entertainment value.
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't see that.
I know, but it did. And it always does. When they start to play a little harder, it becomes more interesting. But at the end of the day, All-Star Weekend for the NBA has turned into an absolute shit show.
Oh, it's not All-Star Weekend. It's a week off.
It is that. And that's annoying because I'm an NBA guy and I want to watch games tonight and they're still not back to work. Look, I get it. They do need a mid-season break, and this isn't even mid-season, but a theoretical mid-season break. I get it.
It's gotten so bad that in the ratings, there was a 41% higher viewership of guys in a car circling an oval track than there was the actual All-Star game.
Don't diss NASCAR like that. People love NASCAR.
I'm not dissing it, but at the end of the day.
Excuse me.
And they went into overtime.
NASCAR did?
Yeah.
I didn't know there was such thing as overtime.
Well, they had a yellow flag at the back end of it where they needed to extend the race as opposed to what Formula One did to Lewis Hamilton.
But the point I'm trying to make, if you're a casual fan, would you rather watch 2 hours of NASCAR or 2 hours of really good NBA basketball?
I would much rather watch NBA basketball.
And most people would. And I'm just not dissing NASCAR. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
But I think I would have rather watched guys racing around a track hoping to see a car wreck before I watch that train wreck.
I don't watch NASCAR ever, but if I'd known NASCAR was having an important race and it was on the other channel, I would have watched that over the All-Star game too. Look,
it's not the Little Debbie 250 from Bristol. It's the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
So when I was in the Army, my boss used to say, Lieutenant, if you're going to bring me a problem, bring me a solution. What is the solution to the NBA?
Okay.
Oh, I got some
I'm
ideas.
so glad you asked.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, the All-Star game does not need to be 4 quarters. There's just no point in it being 4 quarters. Play 2 quarters, for God's sakes. Get it over with fast. I don't care. Play 3-on-3. Separate them into 3-on-3. Maybe they'll give a damn.
Exactly. Play weird ass wipeout level games.
Yeah. I mean, have multiple courts going on at once. I don't care, but it's got to become more interesting. That's number 1. Number 2, the slam dunk competition absolutely, utterly sucks. Yeah. And it is a pillar of my love for the NBA, the dunk contest. I grew up on it.
Well,
I'm talking about Spud Webb, Kenny Skywalker, obviously Dominique and Michael. I mean, I have watched every single dunk contest that has ever taken place live, and I've been glued to the set.
I will say this, Jeff. After old boy jumped over a car, I was like, how in the hell can you ever fucking top that?
Well, I kind of thought that dunk sucked. So there you go.
But he jumped over a freaking car.
Kind of. He jumped over the hood. Okay. He didn't even jump over like
the car.
I know, but he didn't jump over the cabin. Well, so that's how you could do better.
If somebody jumps over the cabin, then it's interesting.
And there's a guy in France that does that, by the way.
Bring him in for the All-Star game.
Anyhow, hey, dude, they did that a couple of years ago. They brought a guy in from the G League to compete in the... Anyway, the dunk contest is a dadgum mess. Yeah. Just give them 45 seconds to go out there in the first round and do whatever dunks they can in 45 seconds. Missed dunks suck.
Yeah, it is dragged on to
It is awful. I don't want to see anybody attempt the same dunk 12 times in a row. Yeah. That's not exciting. Even if he gets it and it's a superb dunk, if it's on the 12th time, it's not fun. And the crowd there can't even pretend like it's fun because they're bored to tears. You saw Shaq. I mean, he's yawning over there. And he's just, he ought to be. It was terrible entertainment. Awful. So if you want me to be interested in All-Star Weekend, change the dunk contest to give them just time to do their coolest stuff. Yeah. And if you want to get to the next round and do anything you can do, I can do better, then I'm interested, right? If I go up and I do a 360 windmill and then you got to come up and do a 360 windmill, I'm interested.
Even if he called it horse dunk contest.
Yes.
Where I did a 360. Yeah. Now I got it. And whoever does, then it just kind of.
I'm down. There's just got to be changes. But if you want to bring the entirety of All-Star Weekend to its utmost climax, bring back the damn old timers game.
That'd be cool.
Why haven't we done that yet? We've got so many retired stars, and there's so much nostalgia currently with young people for the 90s.
Yeah.
Why don't we have?
We could bring back Juwan Howard.
Seriously, Juwan Howard would be fine. Why don't you have Juwan Howard, Chris Webber, Charles Oakley, Ray Allen? Look, I don't want anybody who just retired last year. Right. Okay. But if you remember the old timers game, something like that.
50 to 70. So Bird can get in there.
Do you remember? Bird would never go do it. Right. And the guys who are 70, they probably shouldn't. Okay. They really shouldn't. But do you remember the old timers game, Bob, when we were kids?
Yeah.
Like, okay, they would have guys out there like Bob Cousy, who was like 70, but it was still sort of entertaining because Cousy had a little flash to him. And then there were guys who were like only like 5 or 6 years retired, like Gervin, who probably could still go hang 30 in an NBA game. He put up 51. I'm serious. He put up like 50 in an old timers game one time. And it was so freaking entertaining. You telling me that people wouldn't tune in to watch Dennis Rodman go grab one more rebound?
As long as he's wearing a tutu.
And he might. And it's the old timers game. So like anything goes.
And it actually would probably be more entertaining than the game we see now.
I'm telling you, it would be twice as entertaining.
So here's how I think you fix it. Hear me out here real quick. We'll move on. If you want to make the All-Star game meaningful, baseball has somewhat made the All-Star game meaningful by home field advantage.
It, though.
But what if we did this? So whoever wins the All-Star game, whichever conference, maybe they get more ping pong balls on the lottery side of that draft.
Won't work because none of those teams are going to be in the lottery.
And
so why would it behoove them to make teams in their own conference, but at the bottom of their conference better?
And as currently constituted, it's not conference versus conference anyway. It's LeBron versus
also that.
Yeah.
What if you played for home field advantage or home court advantage?
The only way it'll ever get truly interesting, and I'm talking about the all-star game itself, not just the weekend, is if we come to a point where we are selecting all-stars for an international team and an American team. That's the only way the game itself becomes interesting, because then
That's called the Olympics.
No,
it's not.
Because it's 12 guys on an international roster
kind of like
that
a
are
Ryder
from,
Cup kind of thing,
8 different countries.
Kind of a Ryder Cup
That's
kind of deal in basketball.
Sort of, but more like the President's Cup, but yeah.
But,
Okay.
but why do we have to have a competitively interesting contest?
I don't think we do.
Let's just have a fun spectacle over the weekend and just enjoy the spectacle that is professional basketball.
Because
That's
the
part of
game
the game.
sucks.
And I'll tell you what,
When watching people half-ass it up and down a basketball floor so the next guy can just catch an alley-oop with no defense,
I'll tell you what,
it's not entertaining.
In the 80s and 90s, the All-Star games, they were good.
They were good.
They were better than what we got now.
They were better. I think a lot of people do oh man, it used to be grit and grind for 4 quarters. No, it wasn't.
No.
It was an exhibition too. But the entire 4th quarter was played hard.
Yeah.
That did not happen this year. It hasn't happened in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And frankly, I just think you have a different generation of athlete at the forefront in the NBA now than you did even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant was not going to let the 4th quarter be a fuck around.
Yeah.
He wanted to win.
Yep.
I don't think Steph Curry cares. He's out there to put on a show. He is a showman. LeBron James sure as hell doesn't care. He's just got bigger fish to fry, like his Lakers sucking.
So you mentioned that.
Yeah.
LeBron, again, wants to blame management for that sorry product that's on the field when he's pretty much responsible for what's on the court right now.
Yeah, he's not pretty much responsible for it. He's totally responsible
But I guess
for it.
he's pissed off they didn't make a move for
John Wall.
John Wall.
Well, tough.
And he's still out.
He hasn't played all year. He's not out. The Rockets have told him, don't come to practice. Don't come to the games. We don't want you. That's what's happened there. They're paying him not to come.
I want that job.
I do too.
What is it about
Particularly at
Houston?
that salary.
If you're a Houston athlete, you got it made. No matter what sport you're in, you don't have to show up for work and you still get paid.
Houston's a great place to be a professional athlete.
Deshaun Watson, all of them, man. Just say it.
That's a good point. Deshaun's the same boat, right? You got to lay in the bed you made, LeBron. This is what you wanted. This is what you asked for. All of us who watch basketball and follow basketball and have loved and been entertained by Russell Westbrook for his whole career knew that this was a bad mixture.
Failed bit.
Yeah, just a terrible idea. And LeBron, the player, as great as he is, he's the opposite as a general manager.
Yeah.
He's garbage. Garbage.
Oh, but you know he's going to own an NBA team one of these days.
Damn right he is. But he better not run the general manager job. Own it.
He'll be the Jerry Jones.
He's a great businessman. Yeah, but he could be a Jerry Jones. I mean, you know, Michael Jordan's the greatest player that ever lived, but he's not very good at evaluating talent, apparently. You know,
But there are very few elite level or even good level professional athletes who have transitioned into the front office.
Correct.
Very, very few.
Isn't Larry Bird the greatest athlete in his or her sport to go on and become a successful coach? I can't think of another one. I can't think of somebody better in their sport. I mean, Joe Montana didn't go into coaching. Right?
It's very tough for a top-tier athlete to be a coach.
I mean, baseball managers, I mean, none of the greats of all time went into management. I mean, I guess Pete Rose. Pete Rose might be the closest thing to Larry Bird you got.
And going back to All-Star games, Pete Rose knocks a guy out during an All-Star game.
Yeah, that happened.
They played to win.
Yeah.
That was Ray Fosse. It ruined his career. So anything else on the NBA front that we need to know about?
You know, I'm interested in the second half of the season. It's going to be good to figure out which teams are in full tank mode and which teams are going to go for it. The trade deadline gave us a pretty good hint about who was going to go all in and try to make the play-in games. Teams like Portland. I mean, I don't know why Portland thinks they belong in a play-in game. They're not going anywhere.
Right.
It's not like they're going to win a first-round series. They have no chance. But they want to make the playoffs. Okay, good for them. Meanwhile, the Spurs are kind of in the other mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, we're cool. We'll just take more ping pong balls.
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans, another team that the Spurs are kind of battling with for one of the bottom seeds in the Western Conference.
Has Zion ate himself out of the NBA?
Nobody knows anything about him. It's like he's Bigfoot. Nobody sees him anymore.
They know he's there, but they just don't see him.
Yeah. The Spurs, meanwhile, I was going to say that New Orleans, sorry, got distracted there. New Orleans looks like they're going all in on trying to make the play-in game down the stretch here.
Mm-hmm.
Let them have it, Spurs. Let them finish with the better record. I'll take the ping pong balls. I have no interest in the Spurs playing in the play-in game.
No.
I love our team. I love the guys. I love Pop. I love everything Brian Wright did at the trade deadline, and I have no interest in seeing them play in a play-in game when I know damn well that they can't win a first-round matchup.
Right, and we have pretty good luck with ping pong balls, so
you never know.
This
is, I'm telling you, this is I think I told y'all this last week, or maybe it was a few weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
This is a sneaky good NBA draft. There is talent aplenty. You just have to find the right guy. Now, next summer's draft is loaded, just beyond loaded.
Yeah.
3 top tier, top flight franchise changers.
Didn't Oklahoma a couple years ago stockpile a shit ton of?
Oklahoma has 36 picks coming in the next 7 years, I think
That's incredible, isn't it? It's scary.
It's unreal.
Well, keeping with players that weren't lottery picks, actually they were, NBA Hall of Fame. I'm going to read off some names and tell me.
Give it to me.
Yes or no?
Well,
and if you don't know someone.
Let me ask a question first. Is there a limitation on the number of people that get in annually? Do you know that, Bob?
I don't think there's a limitation. It's by
I don't
vote,
think there is.
It's by vote count.
Yeah, right. So you could theoretically have every single person get in, right? Or nobody.
Well, I think that by virtue of the scoring system, some will be left behind.
Okay.
I saw this guy play. He was an old school ABAer, good player, Hall of Famer, no Swin Cash. If you don't know anything about him, that's okay.
Isn't Swin Cash a chick?
I'm thinking of the other. You know what? You never know nowadays. Wasn't there a Swin?
No, Swin Cash was
Yep.
Wasn't there one in the NBA?
Who?
The W.
Are you talking about
NBA.
Sven?
No, but there
Are
was
you talking about Sven Nader?
Hell,
Sven Nader was in the NBA in the 80s. He played for the Spurs for a minute.
No, there was another guy who played in the ABA, the old ABA. Anyway,
Sven Cash, not an ABA player. Anyhow,
I only smoked the good stuff.
Carry on.
Okay, Swin Cash.
Yes.
I know who.
Swin Cash gets in. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, she's vice president of basketball operations and team development for the Pelicans.
Yeah, and she was absolutely a star.
Yeah.
Don't know who she is, don't care, but if you say so, you're the basketball guru.
She's a goddess.
I say no to him. He's a good player. You got to ask nowadays. Tim Hardaway, I say no.
No.
Yeah. Michael Cooper, I say no.
No.
Marquise Johnson, good player. No.
The best thing,
5-time NBA All-Star, but
the best thing Marcus Johnson ever did was his role in White Men Can't Jump. You remember that? He was
a good movie.
He was Raymond, and he went in to rob the store, right? And he had the sock hat pulled over his face, and the guy behind the desk goes, "Is that you, Raymond?" "No, this ain't Raymond. No."
So we're going to say best supporting actor, maybe Hall of Fame or no?
No. Marcus Johnson was awesome. He's a great announcer. I don't know if he's still doing that. He probably is. Marcus Johnson's real cool, but probably not a Hall of Famer.
2 thumbs up, absolutely. George Karl.
Yeah. I don't know whether George Karl gets in because he's pissed off so many people, but if it were my Hall of Fame, he'd get in.
Yeah. I mean, just an incredible coach. Don't know who she is, don't care. Lita Andrews.
Wow, we're sexist tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes.
I have to be honest, I don't know who that is.
Winningest high school coach.
Oh.
Coached high school basketball for 52 years at 5 high schools in Texas.
I apologize for not knowing who that is.
If you put up with high school
Are we sure it's a woman?
this one is a woman.
Okay. All right. Well,
if she coached
Bat in
that
a
many
thousand.
years in high school, I'm going to say, yes, you're a Hall of Famer.
sounds like it. I mean, I don't know whether that's basketball Hall of Fame or Texas. Anyway, whatever.
Putting up with all
Okay.
those brats.
Sure.
Bob Huggins, yes.
No.
Okay. Why not?
National championships?
No.
I know.
Won 2 NCAA Division I regional championships.
He's been a very good head coach for a very long time. I love his teams.
But they weren't
Annually.
They weren't those.
Never won.
But they weren't those high echelon teams.
Damn right they were. His Cincinnati teams were badass.
But he elevated a team that you don't think of historically as a basketball team.
Okay, well he's done that with West Virginia and Cincinnati,
I
and
think if he had North
I can't even
Carolina
remember
or
where it
Duke
was.
or Kansas,
Well, there's a reason he didn't get those jobs, and that's because he's Bob Huggins. He's not getting in.
913 and 393 with a 699 winning percentage.
Oh, he's no joke. I mean, he is an awesome, awesome basketball coach.
Makes $3.575 million a year at West Virginia.
That's got to be the highest paid state employee in West Virginia, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's more than the football coach, I would think.
other than Joe Manchin, probably.
No, well, yeah.
But if you're willing to end your career in West Virginia, you're Hall of Fame.
Look, I like Bob Huggins. I love his teams. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
Sorry.
And then people I don't know. So,
You kind of forgot.
You're forgetting somebody.
Really important.
Manu.
Ginobili is the head. Ginobili is the head of the class.
Yeah, he's in.
He is the headliner. I would expect that people come out of the woodwork. And if Kobe Bryant was still alive, he'd sure as hell be one of them to say that was the baddest dude that you guys don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And
He revolutionized the sixth man.
he did.
Really did. And he started for all things all considered, he revolutionized the way we looked at international players.
I totally agree with that
Him and
second
Dirk.
remark.
Him and Dirk.
Yeah, I would say that Drazen Petrovic kind of began to break that wall down.
He's
Sharunas
extraordinary.
Marciulionis kind of began to break that wall down. But Ginobili was the one who
Knocked it
just
down.
wrecked it and was like, oh, you think international ball players, can only play a certain style? We'll watch them to dunk in your throat.
Yeah.
And no, Ginobili is singularly the most underrated basketball player in the history of the league.
Yeah.
I watched, and tell me if you guys caught this, on TNT, they had like 7 or 8 different teams set up to draft the top 75 basketball players of all time. Did you see that?
Ginobili were out of it.
Yeah, well, them not being on the list isn't surprising. But
Yeah, I
those
agree that
people who were drafting were allowed to pick players that weren't on the list of 75. So, for instance, Nikola Jokic wasn't on that list, but somebody took him anyway because they wanted a badass center like Jokic. And I don't blame them for doing it. Nobody took Ginobili.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising. But I think, he wasn't considered what you'd call a starter. So I think that
He was a
stopped
finisher.
little bit. He was a
It's
finisher.
twice as important.
And a hell of a competitor. I mean, if you wanted to go with the ball and you had 3 or 4 minutes left and just take charge and
My favorite basketball player who ever put on sneakers. Honestly,
didn't he make that unforgivable sin though
Ginobili.
where he fouled Nowitzki? Important.
Yeah, that was
Broke my heart.
06 Vexler, 06, I believe. And the Spurs had a chance to go back to back.
That's,
And Ginobili comes down on the left side and makes a 3 right in the defense's face to put the Spurs up 2. And it was huge nuts to take and make that shot.
Mm-hmm.
And right back on the other end, Dirk comes to the rim. And if Ginobili lets him go, all he does is tie the game, but he fouls him and they win. But that's Ginobili. You can't take the spirit out of the guy and tell him not to challenge somebody at the rim. Everything Ginobili did in his NBA career to me is gold.
Right.
I mean, I honestly, I think in 20 years, we're still going to be studying how the hell did Ginobili get to the basket every single time he wanted to for like 10 years without any flash, really. I mean, did he have flashy dribble moves like Kyrie Irving or like Steph Curry? No, he just got to the rim whenever he wanted to. Yeah. Hey, do we look dark on?
Yeah, our lighting's gone weird. I don't know if it's anything, but
there it is.
Just switching cameras.
Hey, we're back.
I look better the other way, actually. Perfect.
Yeah, that one's too dark. Perfect. Actually, that's so dark.
I can't see, Andy.
So, let's end it on a down note.
On a down note?
It looks like Major League Baseball is going to be a big turd.
We have a few more days.
They're saying March 1st now.
No, Major League Baseball is telling the players Monday. Monday is the drop dead date. They want 4 weeks of spring training before they'll go to opening game.
Make me care.
Oh, I care because
why?
Flip it back to camera. I care because I love baseball and I hate to see him. I hate to see him ruin the game again. It breaks my heart.
Honestly, fat pigs get slaughtered, right? Like, these are the rules. And Major League Baseball has never figured it out that every time they have a labor stoppage, they screw the fans and the fans walk away.
And they screw the employees of all these stadiums.
Baseball is a dying sport, man.
And it shouldn't be.
It doesn't have to be. I love baseball too, but it is a dying sport.
Baseball has major structural problems.
Yeah.
The length of games, the pace of play, the amount of time between individual pieces of action. It is not a sport that comports with today's entertainment landscape.
Well, Goose Gossage, if you can pull him up, he had a lot of hot sports opinions. He was a great reliever for the Yankees.
Sure.
A few comments he made. He's pissed off Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame because he tested high for PEDs.
No, he did not.
Back in 2000.
No, he didn't. Okay. He was part of that stupid report where they didn't even say what these people had tested positive for. Bullshit, Goose. He didn't. He never tested positive by Major League Baseball. Never.
I bet you wouldn't say that to his face.
I would.
You'd kick your ass. You see that mustache?
I'd still say it to his face.
Up there.
I remember Goose. I remember Goose very well.
You have a beautiful mustache, but
by the way, isn't Goose Gossage still pissed off that he didn't get in the Hall of Fame?
No. Probably.
Isn't he? Yeah.
This mustache, either you play professional sports or you're a porn star.
Yeah, there's only two options, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait a minute. You said something that I wanted to address. Major League. I was going to agree with everything Bob said about the problems with baseball and give a rejoinder by saying they have the most aging fan base of all the major sports.
Yep.
Their average age is 20 years that of the NBA.
My age.
I mean, it's got to be 10 years that of the NFL.
It doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't, but when the sport takes as long as it does, when the sport keeps itself off of YouTube, that's brilliant. You can't watch highlights of baseball on YouTube.
When it takes me long.
Don't think so.
No,
not unless they changed it.
No, well, they have, because I watched it every night this summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, watched games live?
Oh, not live, the highlights.
Highlights.
Which I don't want to sit through a 2-hour game, so I'll watch the 15-minute.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. That's one of the problems. When it takes me longer to watch a Major League Baseball game than the next Marvel movie.
So what about we have a problem. 7 some people say 7 innings.
No.
How about this? I've thought this a lot.
I'm with Bob. Absolutely effing not.
I'm a baseball
Don't
fan.
change from
Think
9
about
innings.
this. The pitcher goes out there. He pitches the first inning. He retires the side. He stays out and pitches the second inning. So you pitch 2 innings, but you get your outs, but you don't walk back to the mound. So it's 2 innings.
I follow you.
That would speed up so much of the
I
game.
just think they need a pitch clock, like an actually enforced pitch clock.
I am with you on the pitch clock. The games need to be shorter, but not an inning count. One of the things about baseball versus football, hockey, basketball, the stats, the statistics mean something.
They really do.
And it means something over the years. I can compare Babe Ruth, even though he played without black players and Latin players.
Because the integrity of the game never changes. It's still the distances. You can't screw it up.
Well, unless you take steroids or juice the ball.
Well, that's the only way.
or tweak the height of the mound.
Yeah, right. That did happen. Yeah.
So it needs to be more relevant, and whether it's a pitch clock, the games need to come down in time. It needs to be around 2.5 hours. I don't even know if you could get there, but
if
it's not relevant right now.
If you get the pitcher on the mound for 2 innings, he gets his 3 outs, he stays on, he pitches another 3 outs. That would save a lot.
It's not the worst idea I've ever heard. I don't want to see it go that way necessarily, but I kind of see where you're going. But baseball has inherent problems, right?
Yeah, they got big problems.
It is a long game. It takes concentration to stay focused on a baseball game. If it takes as long for me to play 18 holes of golf as it does for those guys to play baseball, I know what I'm choosing. Yeah. I mean, and I'm a guy who gets bored watching the NFL because of commercials, or March Madness because it has too many damn commercials. Even NBA games can be too long for me at times. But those are there are intrinsic parts of baseball that just aren't going to transfer, as Bob alluded to sort of this modern, give me info, give it to me now kind of stuff. And they don't support their stars. Their stars do not explode into multimedia crossover performers. When's the last time you could ask your mother or your father? Let's stay with moms. Like I stayed with yours. When's the last time you could ask your mother about a baseball player and have her know who that was? Yeah. I mean, it's got to be the 80s for me.
Yeah.
But easily. I mean, but there can be things done. Baseball has a problem also with this all or nothing mentality. The pitchers are throwing harder than they ever have.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to stand in there for 6 innings.
Yeah.
So they're throwing 95, 96, 97, 98 miles an hour. The batters, it's going to come off the bat faster.
Yep.
So they're swinging for the fences. So you're getting foul balls. So each individual at bat is lasting longer.
Right. And where strikeouts are up, home runs are up, but the play around the bases is way down.
Yep.
And that's not very entertaining. One of the inherent parts about baseball that really sucks, and they can't change it, it's really hard to gamble on. And gambling, whether you like it or not, draws eyeballs.
Well, you know what? You good segue, and we'll get into analytics here in a minute. Goose Gossage had a few other hot
what did he
opinions.
say? What else?
And let me ask you what you think about this. He said the idea that we'd even consider a computerized umpire to call balls and strikes is bullshit. Why are we taking the human element?
Oh my God, we killed off the dinosaurs with the asteroids.
Not Goose Gossage, you didn't.
So you're okay with computerized ump behind the plate?
Honestly, it's fine if it speeds the game. I don't care.
If it speeds the game, I have a problem with it as a baseball purist. But if it speeds the game,
and I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, I don't want to see it, but if that's what it takes, go for it.
He said he can't believe these baseball players can't beat the shift. You know how they'll put a whole side of the infield on one side because they know analytically the guy's tendency is to hit it on that side. And he goes, why can't today's ball players see the shift and beat the shift?
I don't think it's so much that. I think it's that they're instructed to beat the shift because you have to bat to your power spot in the outfield, right?
You know how you beat the shift? You hit the ball over the fence.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
I watch baseball like you watch basketball, and it is amazing how they have these scouting reports where they will shift the infield, and I'll be damned if that ball player, he's got third base wide open, if he doesn't hit it to second base right where they've shifted.
It's the law
And
of
that's his beef.
it's the law of large numbers. That's the reason why baseball lends itself to analytics. We go back to Moneyball and the Oakland A's. In a 162 game season, you have enough data, enough stats, enough analytics to generally pinpoint what's going to happen.
Now, I will agree with him on one thing about analytics, and I watch Dusty Baker, and he's a great coach. But this guy, it's going back to the speed of the game. There's so much emphasis on analytics now. Seventh inning, he'll put in a right-handed reliever to go up against this right-handed batter because he bats.
Well, they have to make a pitcher maximum.
And then
they have to.
And then they'll flip over the next batter to the left.
Yeah.
It's to the point where the analytics, sometimes that's killing the speed of the game, too.
Look, they did that a long time ago, too. However, we have so many live arms now, right? We identify people with live arms earlier and develop them better than we ever have in the history of baseball, right?
Yes.
Now, every single bullpen has, from top to bottom, all these guys can throw high 90s, right? Didn't used to be that way. Right. I mean, the guys who were going to come in and relieve Satchel Paige didn't come in to relieve Satchel Paige because they weren't as good as Satchel Paige. You know what I mean? Even when Satchel had thrown 13 innings, okay? And he once threw a 13-inning no-hitter. Right. By the way, Satchel Paige made baseball the simplest. He said, hit it where they ain't.
Yeah.
That's how you beat the shift. And going back to the shift, we played Lance Berkman in high school, and we put the shift on because he was so powerful from the left side. Put everybody in right field. You know what he did? Just hit it right over us. He did. He went for 6 for 8. He killed us that day.
Hit it where it ain't.
Yeah. Hit them where they ain't. Hit it where they ain't. Yeah.
So is there a fix for baseball, Bob? I know you love the game.
There is. You have to drive the game time down. Labor needs to figure out a way to work with management. Right now, I do not see this strike. I do not see the strike ending. I do not see opening day in April. I do not see it. They're too far apart. And analytically, for competitives and economics, I don't know how you fix it. I really don't know how you fix it. They need a
salary cap.
I'm going to give you one more thing. Pitcher maximum. You can't throw 6 pitchers in one 9-inning game. You just can't.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
And that's going back to the analytics.
And a pitcher should have to stay in for more than one batter. I mean, there's 2 things, because pitching changes take forever. Forever. They got to come up and warm up on the mound. Same damn mound as you were warming up on in the bullpen.
Well, that's why I'm back to my 2 innings pitched per game. You know, they pitch 2 innings. But we're not going to figure it out tonight. I hope they do. I would love to see baseball this summer, and I don't want some strike shortened bullshit 60 game.
We're ready for it.
We're gonna know before we come back in a week. I mean, if management holds to their deadline of Monday, we're gonna know.
Yeah. Well, kids, anything else before we close it out?
No, but I saw that Troy Aikman is going to join ESPN.
Well, good for Troy.
I mean, it's quite a catch.
When he first started his broadcasting career, like I listened to the first couple, he sucked.
He's gotten way better.
He's outstanding.
So are we going to
outstanding?
So wait, ESPN only has Monday Night Football,
as far as I know.
Okay, so we're going to Aikman on Monday nights.
Breaking news.
I'm good with that. Well, no, I'd seen it just before we came on air that he was rumored to be going to
Amazon.
Thank you. But going to ESPN instead. I'm honestly surprised Fox isn't renewing him. I don't get it.
Maybe he wants too much money. Maybe he's saying, I want to be paid as much as Romo, or I'm out.
He deserves it. I mean,
He's as good as Roman.
for my money, he's every bit
You
as
know
good.
what? What
No,
about
thank you.
this? Have the Manning brothers do Monday Night Football. How fucking entertaining would that be?
Yeah, they just won't commit to that kind of work schedule.
Yeah, I know.
I
But we do here.
I see. The Manning brothers for me are like really good ice cream. You can't eat it every night.
Yeah.
True.
I don't need to have the Manning brothers every Monday night.
Yeah.
But every other Monday night,
It's nice.
once every 3 weeks, they're fracking hilarious.
What are we out of time?
That's,
Or is the-
that's 2 minutes.
I thought the ship was backing up.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. We sure hope you enjoy our show. If you listen all the way through, hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you next week.
Sounds good.
Oh, wait.
Adios.
Peace out.
I